The fastest and biggest growing part of America's drug problem.
Prescription painkillers now cause more deadly overdoses than illegal drugs. In tonight's In-Depth report, our Michelle Vyas takes a closer look at this quiet epidemic she knows all about. Personal experience.
Yeah, personal experience tonight, Ron and Judy. It's more common than you may think. In fact, it's safe to say you probably know someone who had a legitimate need for prescription drugs at one time, but then got hooked. And you might not have guessed it, though, because many are ashamed and don't seek help because of the stigma. In fact, that kept me from telling my story, too, until now.
December 6, 2009. It was supposed to be my time to shine in Dancing with the Stars Austin. I was extremely nervous and terrified of my next step. Not in my dance routine, but in my life. That same night, I went straight to rehab. I was among the millions of people who became addicted to sleeping pills. Mine was Ambien, a 4-year addiction that got even more challenging after anchoring evenings for 10 years and then switching to anchor the mornings.
It is 6:43 this morning and
a 2 a.m. wake-up call. And it got worse last year as I battled depression and even started taking prescribed Vicodin to mask chronic back and knee pain from previous injuries.
Before I entered rehab here at Starlite, I tried many times to stop, doing 2 things doctors tell you never to do. I tried to cut cold turkey, and I tried to do it alone. That's actually what got me in a bad state of mind. It made it worse. And that's when I realized I couldn't do it by myself.
For 30 days, Starlite Recovery just outside Kerrville was my home. Calling my family to tell them I'd be spending Christmas and ringing in 2010 at a rehab center was one of the most heartbreaking things I've ever done. Admitting I had a problem wasn't easy to swallow.
I know when I first arrived here, I thought, not for me, I don't belong here. You laugh.
Yes, very funny.
Because everyone thinks that.
I hate to put numbers to it, but probably 99.9% of the people think. I myself did it on the 3rd day that I went to treatment. So.
Steve Thomason, the clinical director here at Starlite, is also in recovery from drugs and alcohol. In fact, 90% of the clinicians at Starlite are too.
Well, hello.
How are you? These counselors and staff guide you through the medical detox, or peel the onion, so to speak, to get to the root of the real problem.
The drug itself becomes a coping skill that is now put in place to deal with things like anxiety, depression, anger, whatever the individual situation may be.
And I got to face my demons at Starlite with counseling, education, and by turning to my higher power.
God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change.
This is where the healing begins. It's also here where you learn the 12 steps.
At the root of the 12 steps is changing the way you think. By the time an individual becomes a full-blown addict, they're more often than not wrapped up in playing the victim, blaming other people for their problems, an inability to own and accept their part in their behavior and accountability.
What I came to find was that I encountered everyone from what we called Yale to jail. All walks of life.
Educators, professionals, nurses, even church leaders. All of us had left our families and jobs, determined to battle not just an addiction, but a stigma.
I'm sure you've heard it from people in opinions that are, like you said earlier, why don't you just quit? Well, that's not how this works, you know. For years and years, hundreds of years, addiction was looked at as a weakness of will or a moral character defect. What genetics has proven beyond the shadow of a doubt is that addiction is genetic.
But learning about that in rehab is just the beginning. In fact, leaving rehab is almost as frightening as entering it.
You're basically just barely getting the remodel done on the house that you just tore down. And we've barely got a couple walls up by the time you leave treatment. It's a long way to go still.
One of the first things after getting out of here that I did was I called all my doctors.
Good for you.
And I told them, no more.
I also made peace with myself, those I love, and continue to turn to my higher power.
The number one thing that prevents people from getting treatment is the stigma.
I'm fortunate to work for a TV station and staff who eradicated that stigma by supporting me from the beginning, encouraging me to tell my story in hopes that it will help you or someone you love.
I really feel that the more we are open about our own recovery, then possibly the more people will see that and say, you know, I can do this too.
Yes, you can. I'm no longer ashamed, and you shouldn't be either if you have a problem. And at weareaustin.com, I provided some helpful resources that may be of help for you or someone you love.
We're so glad that rehab worked for you, but I know it doesn't work for everybody.
You know, that's the truth there. You know, we look at the recidivism rate, but all I can tell you is my story, and I can tell you 7 months now, no pills, and I have a reminder every day. It's my keychain. Just for today. That's all we can worry about. Just for today, and I've got my journey, and everybody has theirs, but you know, it feels good to share this story because I've already heard from so many people. So many people.
Well, we appreciate your honesty and your courage coming and sharing your story and helping others.
And
we're
thank you
glad
guys
you're
too.
here at KITV.
Me too.
All right. Thank you, Michelle.